There's nothing like a great nurse helping you when you're in the hospital and you're feeling like crap and somebody gives you a warm hand and a beautiful smile and they tell you, okay, I'm here. What do you need? And I think a lot of us associate compassion with nurses. Some of us are totally afraid of everything that is nursing and medicine. And when we see a nurse, we're like, oh, you're going to stick me with a needle? And you get scared. And that's also an association we have with nursing. Today, I want to talk about where nurses fit into the ecosystem of medical innovation. We're talking with Ben Gran, who actually posited so many incredible ideas in his TED Talk, because he, as a nurse, feels like nurses are on the front lines. They understand what is happening, what's missing, and they make a very compelling case for include us in the conversations, bring us up the food chain where they're innovating product and treatment and plans, because sometimes even in nursing school, Ben posits that they're in a bubble and they're just learning about nursing and nothing else. So we're going to have a conversation about what it feels like to be a nurse and wanting to change things inside the system and how a nurse can do that and what are the roadblocks and what are the opportunities. Ben, thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to have this conversation with you. Thank you for your passion, for your service, and for your enthusiasm. Your TED Talk was so full of energy. It was so beautiful to listen to you. Can you start, I guess, with talking about where you are in your nursing career, how long you've been a nurse, and any breakthroughs that have happened while you've been a nurse that you noticed and said, wow, I could have been a part of that, or I'm really happy that happened, but I wish they asked me first. Give us an example of what you've seen in your career around medical innovation and how it fits into your conviction that you need to be a part of that process.
Hi, and thanks so much for a wonderful introduction, Deborah. I'm really excited that you've invited me onto the Swell platform to discuss a little bit about myself and my story. And this is the first time I'm using this app, so I'm really excited to try it out and see how it goes. Regarding your first question on where I am currently within my nursing career, so to be honest, I am actually a new nurse. I only graduated here in Helsinki at December of 2020, right as the corona pandemic was starting. At first, I started working as a nurse anesthetist within the old surgical hospital here, really, really close to the Helsinki city center, where we performed breast cancer surgeries. And that was a really interesting time for me because during the same time, I was also employed by the university as a community developer for a entrepreneurship and innovation society that I had built with some of my colleagues there. After 1 year of working as a nurse anesthetist, I decided that it's not something for me, and there were some things going on with the organization that I was working for which did not meet the ethics on how frontline workers should be working. So I left that job, which was a difficult decision, but it was a very empowering decision for me, and I was really happy that I made that decision. Currently, I'm working at the Finnish Blood Services under the Red Cross, and I'm really enjoying my time there. My job basically requires me to take patients' sample blood and pre-screen them before the donation and make sure that everything is going well and safe during the donation procedure. So your next question regarding any breakthroughs that I had during my career, honestly, I started to really realize that the technological interface that nurses were using during my studies already was outdated and clumsy, and there were a lot of technologies that weren't working in a manner that was meeting the needs of frontline healthcare workers. But if I can give you a more specific example, is when I was working as a nurse anesthetist, they had just introduced a new patient database. And this has been a really big project within the region or province that I'm working for, because they're basically introducing the same patient database for all of the hospitals in this area. And to be completely honest, it's not very good, and it's designed in a way that somebody who would work in an office is functioning. And it seems like these IT engineers who have designed this patient database don't take into account really how busy nurses are, and they don't exactly have time to click and search and find all these things that we need to function as nurses. And honestly, I'm not the only one who's had this experience. I've spoken to my fellow colleague nurses and doctors, and it seems like many people are very, very unhappy with it. And this is also around the time where I got the opportunity to have my TED Talk. And so that was always in the back of my mind when I was having this TED Talk, and I was just thinking, if they had nurses from the beginning designing this new patient database, things would be going much, much more smooth. Currently, of course, I understand that this is a work in progress and there's always updates and things that need to improve. But I think if there was more nurses working alongside the design and IT team to begin with, there would be much less errors.
Ben, first of all, congratulations on becoming a nurse. That's huge. Hello from New York City to Finland. I'm here for a bit. I usually live in Los Angeles. I'm so happy you've hopped on board. And already, as you see, people are excited to have you here. I love the example you gave, because that's what I was sort of gleaning from your TED Talk, that there are things that you use every day that are not efficient. So let's walk through this a little bit. So you have this interface, and it's not appropriate for nurses in the field. It's been made by engineers in a lab. So because you seem like you're someone who's kind of stepping into a thought leadership role, you don't just sit back, right? You have this moment of revelation that there needs to be a shift in design. What's the protocol? Is there a review committee? Are there people you could talk to at the manufacturing level? Do you have reviews at your hospital about the equipment and the computer devices that you use? Like, what do you do with this information and this frustration? Do you have to gather a group of people that feel the same way in order to have a case? And I know you're so busy, you're a nurse, so how do you even juggle organizing something like this? But if there's one device that really could use a new UX, what's the protocol to put forward your idea? And if there isn't a pathway towards improvement, is that what you're open to creating?
So currently the way the system works is that higher management and people basically working in the business side of the hospital are the ones who review the new technologies and databases that are going to be adopted. And the biggest problem here is, one, that the people in higher management are not the ones who are working in the front line with patients. So they also lack the understanding of what nurses need. At the very least, they're probably speaking with ward managers who have direct contact with the front line, but in a sense, they're also lacking a understanding of what is needed, even though they have a large understanding with what is needed in the front line. But they are the ones, they're managing the ward. They're not actually working with the patients. So there's a huge disconnect still with especially larger hospitals, and there's such a big bureaucratic system that these things are being adopted without actually speaking to frontline healthcare workers. And with regard to how they try and improve the current database which they're using, is they have dedicated nurses in each ward to sort of be a representative of that gathering information and all these sort of things. But I actually went and I spoke to one of my old colleagues and I asked him, hey, how does this work? And he basically told me that, yeah, they pick certain people within the front line to be sort of the representative for this, to take in the, complaints or, pros and cons of the thing. But the problem is that these people are not being compensated for this extra work. So obviously they are putting the very, very bare minimum into it. So that is another underlying problem which is going on, where they believe that frontline healthcare nurses are willing to take on extra responsibilities and roles and take on a bigger workload without being compensated for that. And for me, I mean, yeah, I would love to develop some kind of system where all these things work better, but currently what I want to do is spread the message that I spread with my TEDx speech, that there needs to be a bridge between the developers and the end users within the healthcare sector. That is currently what I'm doing, and that is what I want to continue to be doing. And, I'm very early on in my career at the moment, and, I'm planning on doing my master's and see where it basically goes from there. But I'm going to go do my master's in health business management, and I'm going to come with this, shield of armor in front of me saying, hey, we need to be speaking to the frontline healthcare workers, whether we're creating a patient database, new technologies, or anything that frontline healthcare users will be using. But yeah, for now, basically my mission is to spread this message. So, upper management, anybody within the bureaucratic ladder within the hospitals, universities, can all start to basically listen to what I have to say and maybe consider what I'm saying and put it into action.
Ben, it's so nice to be part of your mission on some levels, because the way you speak about evangelizing the much needed shifts and changes happens in this conversation. And I'm so blown away by your tenacity and your vision of your own track towards, getting your master's and being a voice for this very specific conversation. I think a lot of us don't think about all the things you brought up here, and I'm just so grateful. And I think that we're kind of at a crossroads, because innovation and technology and advancement happens at a very fast speed, and sometimes they skip the steps of where the human experience fits in. And you really embody for me the bridge that needs to be built. And it's just so amazing to hear it articulated so fully here with you. And I'm just very excited to follow your career and to make sure Swell is a great resource for you in terms of having a platform to include people in conversations. So I just want to thank you for your time here, and let's keep on going as people join in. But just I wanted to make sure you knew how grateful we were to have you here on Swell.